The time is now 7 o'clock.
Time is passing by so quickly, right? The clock is ticking as we are already wrapping up the third week of March. It's officially spring, like we said yesterday, and time is ticking by on President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment trial. Although when the verdict will come down is still unclear. Another week has gone by and still no news from the Constitutional Court, which has all sides growing more apprehensive. But even after the verdict is announced, there will still be uncertainties as to where the country is headed after this. So indeed, it might be a spring of uncertainties one way or another. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Friday, March 21st on BEFM 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our program on a beautiful, every Friday is beautiful, is it not? I've been looking forward to this day all week, and I'm sure you have as well. So welcome to the program. You know, it's been another week of silence from the Constitutional Court when it comes to President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment trial. So even if the court were to announce its ruling date today, it would still be next week at the earliest. Speculation has been rampant as to why it's taking the court so long to deliberate, especially as what's actually going on behind closed doors, well, that is under strict lock and key. So one possibility is that the justices have not reached a unanimous consensus. And while, by the way, they don't have to, they may be trying to reach, a full agreement in order to minimize the political backlash. There's also the speculation that the justices are writing out a very detailed verdict to quash any dissent or legal complications. However, pundits say that the delay itself is causing confusion and complications. But for the parties involved, what happens after the verdict will be confusing no matter which way the verdict falls. And for the ruling party, of course, it will be chaos if the president is impeached, if that is upheld. But even if the impeachment is overturned, it would start a prolonged lame duck period for the president. And for the opposition party, they are in a painful kind of waiting period as it's contemplating whether to introduce an impeachment motion against acting President Choi Sang-mok. It's also waiting on another court ruling for a Democratic Party chair Lee Jae-myung's election law violation appeals case, which could hold him back from running for office. There are so many questions. We don't have any answers at this point to those questions, and we're going to have to see if we can start to get some answers. Maybe next week, maybe. That's a big question mark, though. So now we're going to turn to our text topic. Are you ready? Do you prefer eating by yourself versus with someone else? Okay? And how far have you gone in your solo eating ventures? And how far have you gone to avoid eating by yourself? 자, 나는 혼밥파 versus 같이 먹는 파. 우선 그거부터 결정하셔야 되고요. 나는 밖에서 어디까지 혼밥 먹는 게 가능하다, 먹을 수 있다. 예를 들자면 뷔페, 샤브샤브 요즘에 인기 너무 많잖아요. Those kind of restaurants, 패밀리 레스토랑, 혼밥 가능할까요? I have thoughts on that. 또는 식당에서 혼밥 혼자 먹기 싫어서 땡땡 해봤다. To avoid eating by yourself. I'll just give you one short answer for me. I'm comfortable eating by myself depending on the setup of the restaurant. Meaning, 식당 분위기나 구조에 따라서 혼밥 충분히 가능해요. 해봤고요. 하지만 I don't know. 저는 family restaurant or a buffet by myself까지는 아직 안 해봤어요. I haven't tried that yet. And so that's just me though. I'm okay eating on my own if it's like for example, 약간 그 카운터 좌석, like counter seating or like a bar seating. I'm perfectly okay. 왜냐면 다른 분들이랑 이제 눈 마주칠 일도 없고 I can kind of concentrate and eat at a very slow pace and enjoy the food. But, if there's like tables or it's like a romantic restaurant, I don't know about that. I don't think I could do it. But I want to hear your thoughts. Send in your responses to BFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. So go to the YouTube platform, type in BEFM or 부산영화 방송 to find our channel, and you can subscribe, and also log in and chat with our other waivers on your phone. Pound 9050 shop 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also send in your messages to me for free through our BFM Kakao Talk channel as well. So add us as a friend, and you are well on your way to sending in your messages, photos, etc. The ways you can listen to our program these days on the radio in Busan 90.5 or 103.3 FM. That's depending on where you are. And like I said, we're streaming live right now on YouTube. You can watch again at your leisure. We have 2 apps for you, the BFM app and the Patbang app. The latter, you can listen to our Wagga Wagga segment. It's Friday, so who's coming into the studio? We have Casey for Foreign Press Highlights. And then we have Vasana for What in the World. That's coming up in hour number 2 for our special interview. This whole designating of South Korea as a sensitive country, that list. We've talked about it like real briefly about what it is, but we want to get an expert's take on what this really means. What happened for us to be put on that list? And are there concerns? Should we be concerned? That's coming up in hour number 2. I'll be back with today's headlines. It's now 7:07. These are today's headlines. National Assembly passes Pay More, Receive More pension reform. The National Assembly approved a landmark reform of the nation's ailing pension system yesterday, and the biggest overhaul of the public pension fund in about 20 years. Constitutional Court to announce Han Duck-soo's impeachment verdict next Monday. The Constitutional Court said it will announce a verdict on Prime Minister Han Duck-soo's impeachment at 10 a.m. next Monday, which is March 24th. Prosecutors raid Seoul mayor over corruption allegations. Prosecutors yesterday raided Seoul Mayor Oh Se-hoon's office and home over allegations of corruption surrounding his ties with self-proclaimed power broker Byung Tae-yoon. South Korea-Oman World Cup qualifying match ends in a draw. The South Korean men's football team, ranked 23rd in the world, settled for a disappointing 1-1 draw against the 80th ranked Oman in a World Cup qualifying match last night. Gaza death tolls soar as Israel and Hamas resume attacks. Gaza's health ministry says 591 Palestinians, including 200 children, have been killed since Israel shattered the ceasefire this week, including at least 85 Palestinians killed in Israeli airstrikes since midnight local time. And these are today's headlines. Let's say hi to Sue for Busan Updates. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Friday.
Happy Friday.
Yes, I always have that sing-song tone in my voice on a Friday because, yes, who hasn't been looking forward to this day? But, we want to get your take on our text topic. Are you okay eating on your own versus never? Oh, okay. So in any type of circumstance, or is it just for certain kind of food?
So for me, there's a really good 국밥 place in front of my place.
Yes.
So I sometimes go. quite often.
Oh, by yours, and you're perfectly comfortable.
Yeah, I just find a little seat and then like sit down and then turn on my phone and watch stuff and eat. And it's really fun.
Okay, so you're okay.
Yeah, it's good. But it depends on the type of food because you can't just go into 중국집, Chinese restaurant, and order 탕수육, 짜장면, all of that on your own. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah, and then shabu shabu, I can never do that on my own because it's a lot of amount.
Oh, but nowadays they also have like the counter U-shaped seating where they have like you can go on your own. So I understand if you go to like the all-you-can-eat shabu, it's kind of difficult. But what about for buffets? Are you comfortable going to a buffet on your own, chowing down?
No, I don't think I would dare to go by myself because, I will look so weird. I don't know. That's my own opinion.
Oh, and so we have a message from 모나미 who says 삼겹살 집에서도 혼밥 해봤어요. 이모님들이 옆에서 말 걸어 주셨대요. That's so sweet.
Yes.
So she went on her own to like a pork belly, like a 고깃집, right?
That's
and then
great.
People like at other tables were apparently striking up conversations with her. That's really sweet of them.
Oh, I would become a regular to that place.
Or I don't know, but for some people that might be uncomfortable. Like maybe you want no, really 혼자서 그냥 조용히 고기 굽고, maybe you just want to enjoy and savor every bite.
Oh, okay.
And then you're like, why are you talking to me? I'm okay.
Right.
I'm okay.
Depending on the personality.
Yeah, definitely.
Outgoing or, a little introverted. Yeah.
Yes. All right. We're going to jump into our first update. The number of marriages has gone up for the first time in 11 years, correct?
Last year, the total number of marriages in Busan was around 11,500 cases, reflecting an 11.6% increase from the previous years. And notably, this is the first increase since 2013 after 11 consecutive years of decline. Despite a declining young population, especially those in the 20s and 30s, this is seen as a positive sign for birth rates. And experts believe that the rise is due to people, especially in their 30s, who postponed their weddings during COVID-19, finally tying the knot.
Ah, yes. And do we have any specific numbers for the districts in Busan?
Yes. Busan진구 district had the most weddings, 1,580 cases, followed by Haeundae-gu, Sagu, and Bukgu districts, while Junggu district had the fewest of 116. And nationally, marriage numbers increased for the second year in a row, with no region seeing a decline. However, Busan still had one of the lowest marriage rates in the country, with only 3.5 marriages per 1,000 people.
Oh.
And the national average was 4.4 per 1,000 people.
I see. Well, let's talk about the age range. When do people get married these days?
So the average age for first-time marriages in Busan remains quite high, 34.2 years for men and 32 years for women, which is the second highest, just behind Seoul. And interestingly, the average age for men dropped slightly compared to the previous year. And international marriages in Busan also increased by 4.3%, but the growth was much slower than in 2023. Meanwhile, divorces in Busan dropped by 4.9%, reaching the lowest level in 33 years.
Yes.
And nationally, divorces also slightly decreased.
Oh, interesting, those figures. Marriage numbers going up, divorce numbers going down. But, so thank you for giving us, what's the know-how, in the know of what's happening in Busan. Next up, let's talk about Busan Aviation high school students who now can obtain an aircraft maintenance engineer's license. Really?
Yes. Busan Aviation High School's Aircraft Technology Training Center has received certification from the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport as a specialized training institution for aviation. And this makes it the first school in Busan to offer an official aircraft maintenance engineer license.
Yes, and isn't this kind of like a newer school? I remember we talked about it. So tell us more about the school itself.
So Busan Aviation High School opened in March last year as Busan's first Meister High School, Meister 고등학교, which is a type of vocational high school that provides specialized professional education.
Sure.
And it was established to help bridge the education gap and prepare for the new Gadeok Airport. And the school was invested in top-notch equipment and instructors to meet aviation safety regulations. It has 3 aircraft, 실제 항공기, and over 150 pieces of aviation equipment for hands-on practice. And students will learn everything they need to become certified aircraft maintenance engineers with 2,410 hours of combined theory and practical training.
Okay.
And the education office is also working to make the school the best in the country by collaborating with major aviation organizations and planning to build new dormitories by 2027.
Well, it sounds like such a great way for young people to get like real experience and get the education. So hopefully the school will flourish. Now let's talk about this. Busan is now offering a new visa program to attract foreign talent to areas facing population decline.
The city announced that it will begin accepting applications for the region-specific visa program, 지역특화형 비자 사업, from the 26th of this month until the 25th of next month.
Yes.
And the purpose of the program is to promote community settlement, increase the local population, boost economic activity, and curb population outflow.
So this visa program, we need to know the specifics of like who qualifies, what kind of visas there are.
So this year, there are 3 types of visas available. Skilled workers, E74R visa now requires applicants to live and work in areas with a shrinking population.
Okay.
And there is a limit of 159 applicants. And the outstanding talent, F2R visa, has had some changes like the number of raising the Korean language requirement and removing the job sector restrictions.
I see.
And the number of spots for this visa has also increased from 120 to 150. And those interested can apply by visiting the local district office by the 25th of next month.
Okay.
And the overseas Koreans F4R visa is open for applications until September next year with no set limit.
And so what are the participating districts for this program?
The outstanding talent and overseas Koreans categories will target 3 regions experiencing population decline, such as 서구, 동구, and 영도구 districts. And the skilled workers category will include 중구 and 금정구 districts.
Okay, thanks for the lowdown on the new visa program. Lastly, let's talk about this. The Busan Dongnae District Council has introduced a new ordinance that bans work-related contact after office hours for MZ. Okay. And the fact that we always lump them together, people, they say they don't like it. For the millennials and Gen Z generations, for those public employees, right? 싫대요. Oh, they always say, especially Gen Z, they're like, why do you lump us with the millennials?
It kind of has a like negative connotation as well, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're doing something poorly because you're MZs.
Right. But we should never lump or, stereotype it. So what's going on with this?
So in response to young public employees leaving their jobs, the Dongnae District Council is proposing a groundbreaking ordinance that bans work-related contact after hours. And if approved next month, this will make Dongnae the first district in Korea to have such a policy. And the new ordinance is called the right to disconnect. 연결되지 않을 권리에 관한 조례안이라고 합니다. And it aims to help workers separate their job and personal life by making sure no unnecessary work instructions are given outside of their regular hours.
Well, we need further details on this.
So the rule will have some exceptions, like during emergencies or special events, but it will mostly focus on work-life balance, 워라밸. And there will also be a reporting center where employees can report any violations, and the district office will make sure employees are protected and investigate any complaints. And the head of the district will also conduct surveys every 2 years and offer annual training to help prevent work-related stress.
Yes.
And recently, many more young workers in Busan have been quitting, with resignations doubling among public employees in their 30s in the past 3 years.
Yeah, so we want to prevent this. We don't want all the talented young people to be leaving in droves. So I understand why we have this. Well, thank you for all the updates. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll check in with you on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you. You too, Catherine.
Everybody, this was Sue, and we're going to get to our traffic and weather. It's now time for your traffic report at 7:20 on this Friday morning. It looks congested on the Dongso overpass from Bumneko ramp to the old Kaegum tollgate. And there is some heavy traffic also on Mandokdaero from Minam to Mandok intersection. It's looking slow on Chungjangdaero from Jungangdong intersection to the Chungjang overpass. And yes, it also looks slow on Pansonglo from Kumsa to Allak intersection. It's currently, are you ready for this? It's 9 degrees Celsius. It really feels like spring right now. Under clear skies here in Busan, the daytime high, it's going to go up to 20 degrees. Looking ahead for the weekend, it's going to be warm and sunny. So for both days, tomorrow and on Sunday, a low of 8 and a high of 20 is expected. And this was your traffic and weather.
Are you an early bird? Are you up to date on the news? Are you a trendsetter? For all of the biggest issues from Busan to the world and useful information you need, right here on Morning Wave in Busan.
It's time for Haley and News Digest, and I'm going to real naturally go over and grab the script because I was looking at some of your messages and photos that you have sent in as well. Some people are real comfortable, like with the honbap thing. What about you?
I'm super comfortable. Actually, I love honbap because I think of it as, especially during a weekday, it's my wind down time. Because, our jobs, you talk and talk and talk. So I like to watch stuff. I like to just eat by myself, savor the food. And I know you're not supposed to watch stuff, but
we do.
But we do. But then when you're going to a new restaurant, I do like going with more people because if you go by yourself, you can't order 2 entrees. I mean, you can, but I just can't finish it.
Right.
But then if you go with 2 people, you can order 3. If you go with 3 people, you can order 4. So the number just keeps going up. Yes.
We want to know, though, the true test. Buffet okay? 삼겹살집 okay?
I think
on your own?
I've done a buffet.
On your own?
But on my own, not in Korea though. Also, I'm a solo traveler, and when you travel by yourself, and
really
if it's a foreign country, you also just don't care.
Yeah, because
these people don't know me,
recognize you?
Right, exactly. So I've done a buffet on my own. I've done an amusement park, 놀이공원, on my own in Vietnam. I don't think I've done 삼겹살. But why not? But also, But then also, it's a whole thing because 고기만 먹을 수 없잖아요. 된찌도 시켜야 되고 냉면도 시켜야 되면
요즘에 쫄면 같이 나오잖아요 at a certain place that I like frequenting. And it's huge. It's ginormous.
Right, because you want all the sides. Right. So you got to bring people. Yeah, okay.
Well, we also want to get to Taejin, who has sent in a photo.
Who's the opposite of 삼겹살 and 쫄면, by the way?
Oh my God,
healthy.
It's so healthy. I think we have permission to post the photo, so we're going to post it right now on our YouTube. Look at that. We have a very healthy looking, it looks like homemade, but I could be wrong. And then we have some like a granola looking protein, something Delight, can't say the name of the brand. And then we have
such like a liter of milk.
High calcium content milk. And then we have eggs. And then we have the kugma. Right, sweet potato. Oh, look at is that a tangan in his hand?
Yes.
Oh, I want that. As I was the carrot a couple days ago, right?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I'm just so baffled by the size of the milk.
Are you gulping it down?
Exactly.
Like.
I mean, I know he's tall.
Do you have a cup?
I think I know why he's tall now.
Yeah, because yeah, he's super tall.
Our producers just.
피디님 그거
Oh my God.
리액션요 조금 조용히 해주세요. 네. 아니면 마이크를 다시든가, like we said. All right.
Okay, all right.
Let's get into our news. So the South Korean steel and aluminum industries have already been impacted by Trump's tariffs, but now the European Union, EU, has announced export reductions.
Right. So we've been covering these impacts from the so-called Trump's tariffs. Now we are talking about indirect impact. So as an emergency measure to U.S. President Donald Trump's steel and aluminum tariffs, the European Union has decided to reduce their steel imports by up to 15%. So this decision was announced by the European Commission's vice president, who said that the EU will reinforce their current safeguard clause to protect the metal sector. So currently, the steel industry employs more than 300,000 people, but they've lost almost 100,000 jobs in the past 15 years.
Right.
So upon this, the European steelmakers welcome this step.
You know, this is important, but we also want to look at how this affects the South Korean industry.
Right. So it will, because South Korea is the third biggest importer, or rather for our perspective, exporter of steel to the European Union.
Okay.
So those in the South Korean industry say that key exports like hot rolled slabs and any other forms of slabs will be likely affected by the most number.
I see.
But the thing is, this isn't it, right? It's not the first, nor will this be the last. The European Union's Commission said it'll come up with new protectionist measures, and that includes expanding the so-called carbon tax. Specifically, we're talking about the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, the CBAM, 탄소 국경 조정 제도, where there's a fee on imported goods that aim to reduce carbon emissions and prevent carbon leakage.
Okay.
So the Commission said that the new measures would cover what are called downstream or processed products of steel and aluminum.
Yes.
So we have more of these measures and protectionist measures coming.
I see. Thanks for sharing the latest on this. Let's move on and talk about the government, the domestic government, flip-flopping on its real estate restrictions over the high district demands in Seoul. But these measures also have an indirect effect on non-capital housing prices as well, correct?
Right. So we're talking about the ever so sensitive issue of 부동산, real estate and home prices 집값. So earlier this week, Seoul City and the Land Ministry flipped its decision on these land transaction permission system, where it eased regulations in Gangnam and Songpa-gu districts. But just a month ago, they introduced these restrictions. So because the prices soared in these areas after they lifted their restrictions, so they're reimposing them.
Yes.
But this has this unintended side effect. It also reinforces this notion that Seoul is the only place to go for real estate investment. So in the month since the regulations were lifted, apartment prices in Songpa, Gangnam, and Seocho-gu districts showed their highest increase in 7 years. And there were signs of speculative investment, 투기, aka gap investments, which led to the authorities to reintroduce these restrictions.
Right. So what's happened to the regional home prices in the meantime?
Right. So as these capital area or Seoul prices have been soaring and dropping and soaring, well, in regional prices, 지방 집값, they keep dropping. Right. So as of the second week of this month, Busan's home prices went down by 0.08%, and that rate was even bigger for Daegu, Sejong, and Jeju. By the way, I mean, if you're a homeowner, I'm sure you know about this already. Busan's home prices have been going down consistently since June of 2022.
Right.
So these mixed signals coming in, especially from Seoul with the regulations, is telling big-time investors to just basically wait it out because we'll eventually lift it or reintroduce it.
Sure.
So the experts are saying that in this investment market, for real estate, psychology is the most important. And the psychology right now is that the government is basically pushing Seoul.
Yes.
So on top of this, the immediate restrictions on housing loans will also, imminent restrictions on housing loans will make it harder for people who are trying to buy homes everywhere in the country, really.
That's true. So just because something is happening in certain parts of Seoul does not mean it doesn't affect. It does affect everyone.
Right.
Yes. Let's move on and talk about the government, which apparently has put its foot down on medical students coming back to classes, and medical schools are taking the necessary steps, right?
Right. So earlier this month, the government has stated that unless medical students come back within this month, they will be either held back or expelled. 유급되거나 재적 처리된다. So a group of the 40 medical school presidents held a conference earlier this week and discussed this matter. And yesterday, they've decided to not approve the request to take a leave, 휴학계, and they will actually turn those back to the students by today. And they'll also follow the principle and regulations on expulsions and holding the students back. So they're going by the book. And these medical school presidents said in a statement that while they do express these deep sympathies and regrets over the current situation for the students, they reaffirmed that the top priority is to normalize medical education.
But I do have a question, right? So if there are going to be some big gaps in the student enrollment, what will happen?
Right. So they do have to fill those numbers. So
Yes.
some medical schools are coming up with measures to expand their transfer student base. So to fill these numbers. So the education ministry is of the position that they're going to leave that policy up to the specific individual schools.
Oh, really?
So maybe more 편입생 coming.
All right. Well, let's move on to another issue for now. We have hit an unfortunate milestone in climate change. 2024 is officially the first year that temperatures exceeded 1.5 degrees Celsius of pre-industrial levels. And we always talk about this 1.5
It's
or 2
the magic
degrees.
number. So
Yes.
this is basically the maximum that'll be allowed or the minimum compared to the pre-industrial levels
Yes.
before basically climate change takes too big of a toll on the environment. So 2024 was the hottest year on record and the first year of temperatures officially being 1.5 degrees Celsius. Actually, specifically, it was 1.55 degrees Celsius higher than the pre-industrial levels.
Right.
So this is according to the Global Climate Status Report released by the World Meteorological Organization, or the WMO. They say that the rate of increase in Earth's temperature has reached concerning levels, and the impact of climate change is now becoming more pronounced than ever.
Right.
So the WMO noted that the average temperatures on Earth last year increased, number one, from natural reasons. We were at the peak of El Nino. However, human factors also played a role. So in 2023, the concentration of CO2 or carbon dioxide in the atmosphere reached 420 ppm parts per million, which is 151% increase from the non-industrial period.
Yes.
Methane, methane, and nitrous oxide, 아산화질소 concentrations also reached their highest ever levels.
Right. So this is regarding ground temperatures, right? But what about in the oceans?
Ocean temperatures are crucial because the ocean absorbs a lot of our greenhouse gases. And
Yes.
of course, there's great biodiversity in the oceans. Ocean warming, though, also at a serious level. So last year, the heat content of the oceans was the highest in the observed history, 65 years.
Yes.
And the rate of ocean warming in the past 20 years has been more than twice as fast from the previous 20-year period. So even under low carbon emission scenarios, ocean warming is expected to continue throughout the 21st century. And that's caused ocean acidification, affecting habitats, coral reefs, biodiversity, and ecosystems. The minor silver lining is that the Paris Climate Accord, the 1.5 degrees cap is for overall temperature. So just the 1 year cap won't, affect everything. It's not
But
a complete
still.
break, but still,
Yes.
this needs to stop.
All right. Well, a lot of food for thought. Thanks for covering all the news. We'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
And we actually have time for a song. So here it is. This is With Me by Hui-sung.
This song's dedicated to all the broken hearts. Been there, done that. Mr. Real slow. Are you ready for a shock?
내 손짓 하나 보는 게 난 좋은데 네 목소리를 듣는 것도 좋은데 왜 넌 내 마음은 묻지도 않고 날 네 맘대로 떠나라는지 날 미워해도 사랑할 수 있는데 난 너만 보면 행복해 내 맘까지 아프라는 건지 왜 가기 싫은 날 또 믿는지 믿고 있어 알고 있어 아닌 걸 너만이 사랑하네 서로 찾아가란 말 아픈 네 맘보다 알 수 있어 더 힘들어도 참을 수도 있는데 나 사랑하는 네 마음 보여주면 아직 너를 위해 두고 싶은 일들이 너무 많이 있는데 네 맘이 아닌 걸 난 알고 있는데 사람 찾아가란 말
지금 어찌할 수가 없는 너의 아픔을 네 곁을 지켜주란 하늘의 뜻 그게 내 믿음 내 가슴 속 깊은 곳 새겨진 너의 이름 너 가까이서 지켜볼 수 있다는 게 오직 기쁨 나 없이는 하루도 살 수 없다는 걸 알아 이제 떠나란 말 그런 말 하지 마라 Cause you don't want for me and I'm the one for you 네 마음이 세상 그 누구보다 난 잘 알아
Welcome back, everybody. I was perusing some of your messages. Leslie says this. Today's text topic, I much prefer eating with someone. Eating is such a social activity. The only time I don't mind eating on my own is when I am grabbing takeout or when I am running errands. So, yes, Leslie prefers eating with other people. I was thinking about this too as well. Like, I overall prefer eating with people, but there are times where like, you know what? I don't mind the silence and just kind of enjoying my food and whether, and I try not to look at my phone when I'm enjoying a meal. I try not to, even on my own, because I feel like, concentrate on the food. Is it good? Is it not? I'm kind of taking everything in instead of just always looking at my phone. It's a challenge, though. It's very easy to whip it out. So I'm not judging, not at all. We're going to get to Kat's Pick for this Friday morning. For today's Cat's Pick, we've been talking a lot about the immigration changes ever since the Trump administration has been at work. And now this is affecting someone you might think, really? Is he, a person of interest in this? Prince Harry's U.S. visa status. That's been getting a lot of tongues wagging. So here is a clip from the Today Show.
5 years after moving to the United States, Britain's Prince Harry finding himself at the center of the heated immigration debate. His partially redacted immigration records are expected to be unsealed today, something the conservative Heritage Foundation has been fighting for, to learn whether the Duke was properly vetted prior to or during admission into the United States in light of his admitted drug use. In his 2023 tell-all book, Spare, Harry revealing he had used drugs in the past, including marijuana, psychedelics, and cocaine.
I had been doing cocaine around this time at someone's country house. I was a deeply unhappy 17-year-old boy willing to try almost anything that would alter the status quo.
U.S. visa applications ask about current and past drug use and can lead to denial. The Heritage Foundation argues Prince Harry's immigration records could show either the U.S. government gave him preferential treatment or that the Duke may have lied altogether.
Just how unusual of a situation is this?
It's very unusual for a court to even consider releasing these kinds of immigration records. The only reason that Prince Harry is going to have some of it released is because he's a public figure.
Last year, candidate Trump said Prince Harry should not receive preferential treatment.
If he lied, you'll have to take appropriate action.
But last month, President Trump told the New York Post he won't seek to remove Prince Harry from the country, saying, "I'll leave him alone. He's got enough problems with his wife. She's terrible," referring to Meghan Markle, who's been an outspoken critic of the president. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex moved to the West Coast after stepping away from the royal family in 2020, amid tensions with the institution and an onslaught of negative press. They've planted roots with their 2 young children in Montecito, California, with Meghan sharing a look at the idyllic coastal town in her new Netflix series, With Love, Meghan.
I'm going to share some little tips and tricks.
As Prince Harry's future in his adopted country is called into question.
We still don't know what type of visa Prince Harry is here on, and legal experts say that matters because some are subject to less scrutiny. We reached out to Prince Harry's team in the Department of Homeland Security for comment, but have not heard back, guys.
So as you heard in that clip, it's also Prince Harry with his visa issue. The fact that they had to release these documents after a Freedom of Information request was made by the Heritage Foundation, which, by the way, is a conservative U.S. think tank, just to give you more information. So what kind of visa does Harry have? Do we need to know? I don't know. But anyhow, this was Cat's Pick for today.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Morning Wave in Busan.
Let's say hi to you're a fashionista. You're wearing the mocha mousse color today. Casey's in the house.
This mocha?
This mocha mousse is the color of the year.
Is it for real?
Yeah, for real.
I don't know what mocha mousse is.
You're wearing
This is it?
This is it, yeah.
Mocha mousse. Does that sound good? Delicious?
It's just a fancy way of saying like a rich camel color, I think.
Oh, okay. I think I'm hungry. I was like, mocha mousse. Would I eat that? Yeah, I guess I would.
How are you?
Good. Fantastic.
Test topic.
Oh, no.
혼밥.
Okay.
Are you okay eating on your own versus I prefer eating with other people? And the big question is test.
Go ahead.
Are you okay eating alone at a buffet? Or like a samgyeopsal place where, there's lots of
side dishes and all that. And you got to make that trip back and forth. And you're like, and you walk back to that empty table.
And most 고기 places, you have to order a minimum of 2.
Right.
Usually. 2분 이상 해야 되잖아요. 네.
Yeah, you know what? Like a Japanese ramen style shop, no problem. They're kind of set up for that, right?
Exactly, like I said, the counter seating.
Right.
I'm okay with that.
돼지국밥, no problem.
Okay.
But yeah,
buffet.
It depends. Buffet, I think I would be a little intimidated.
Especially if you're like...
I know. Like I got 5 plates and there's no one else around. Yeah, I guess I would be a little intimidated by that. You?
Yeah, for me, it depends on the whole the 고깃집. I haven't gone on my own yet. I don't
think I have either.
Right, and the buffet, definitely not on my own.
Yeah. I guess it totally depends on where and what's the occasion, right? The gogichip almost seems like you're kind of ready to party with people or something. It seems like it's that kind of thing, right?
No, but some people have gone on their own. They're okay.
You know what? I've actually heard that some owners kind of discourage that. I wonder if that's, still a thing.
How about at home, though?
At home, eating by myself?
No problem, right?
Love it.
Yeah.
Sit in the corner, lights out, just...
Lights out?
Yeah.
Like in the dark?
Like a vampire. This is me time.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so let's get into our first story. What's it about? Where is it from?
Okay, before I get into the story, I just want to
Yes.
kind of preface this by asking a couple questions here. Did you ever do a DMZ tour? It seems like I asked you this before.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
I didn't do a DMZ tour. We just got to real close to the border
Right.
where there was like an observatory and you could see. That's as close as I got, but I didn't do a DMZ tour.
Okay, because I know we've talked about who knows how long ago, but okay.
Yes.
I was like, I think, Kat had said kind of, but yeah, okay, not the actual DMZ tour. All right, so this story is about the DMZ tour in particular. Basically, just to give people a little background information, until 2023, tourists were allowed, under the supervision, of course, with the United Nations Command troops. They could visit the Joint Security Area, which is the name of a pretty famous Korean film as well. It's really, as they quote in this article from Stars and Stripes, U.S. military publication, they call it a high-stakes spot. That's one way to put it. That's shared with North Korea inside the demilitarized zone.
Sure.
There's a picture, too, from the article which shows you people could actually also go into these, as they say, iconic blue buildings where military officials from the United States, South Korea, North Korea, and China negotiated the end of the Korean War. You can see there.
Yes.
It looks like an intimidating place to go in.
Right, definitely.
Some of the other spots include the Peace House. That's where South and North Korean officials conduct inter-Korean talks, or did. And actually, I kind of forgot about this, but back in 2018, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un actually visited the Peace House. Why is it a big deal? That was the first entry by a North Korean leader into South Korean territory since the war.
That's true.
So that was a big deal.
Right.
Then what happened, right? So in 2023, public tours were halted because Army Private Travis King decided to run across the line, literally.
Yes.
And he actually got into North Korea that way and had to get the Swedish government involved to get him released. I totally forgot all that.
Right.
So then they tried to restart the tours, but then quickly, November 22nd, 2023, they had to suspend them because North Korean troops started rebuilding the old guard posts and arming themselves along the border. So since that time, relations haven't been quite pleasant. So I was very surprised to read this week from Stars and Stripes that South Korea to restart tours of tense DMZ border area after more than 2 years.
Ooh.
So this past Wednesday, the Ministry of Unification announced South Korean plans to resume public tours of the Joint Security Area.
Oh, that is quite soon. So, I mean, what else do we need to know about this?
Well, they've got a bit of consulting to do. So they have to consult with the UN command. They also have to consider factors such as public safety, also inter-Korean relations, which, it's a lot to consider. But they say the tours could begin as early as next month, according to an unnamed ministry official.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty important news.
Yeah.
Considering everything that you just mentioned, things have been going not so well in the past few years between the two sides.
So next month seems like a bit early, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
Well, let's move on to our second item. What's this one about?
Comfort food.
Comfort food.
What would be your comfort food?
Oh, that's a tough one because...
Yes, gotcha.
Yeah.
Text topic right back at you. A new text topic.
Comfort food. You know what I really do like? Okay, let me try to explain.
Go ahead.
Not samgyetang, but the whole chicken. But I kind of, it's a fusion for when I make it. I add in celery and carrots and onions.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's like a chicken soup. You know what I'm talking about,
I know
right?
exactly what that's.
Exactly.
Yes.
I love it. That's like my favorite. But using the whole chicken, like you would do it in a samgyetang, but not putting in the herbal ingredients.
No, you're not the
not
bag.
the twigs,
The bag of stuff, the twigs.
Yeah, I don't like the twigs.
Okay.
So you know what I mean by the twigs.
I
know
yes.
it's good for you.
I don't know what's in there in that bag,
Right,
that
but
pouch.
there's a very
yes.
particular like hanyaki taste that I'm just not fond of.
Gotcha.
So I kind of like I Americanize, Westernize it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's celery.
What's your comfort food?
I would, I didn't really think about it.
You asked me and you were not ready.
I was just going to grill you. But no, that sounds good to me. Like homemade chicken soup, when you just kind of need some of that kind of all around goodness. Yeah.
People are sending in their comfort food. Tteokbokki is coming up.
Really?
Umberto says deep dish pizza. Oh, I missed that deep dish pizza.
Okay.
Like Chicago style.
New York. I'll stay out of that.
Okay.
I'll stay
and also
out of it.
매운 김치. Oh. soul food for some other food.
It's a lot of spiciness, it seems like.
It seems, yes.
Yeah, comfort to me is like bland, I guess.
Bland. Well, why are we talking about this?
Oh, okay. Because the Washington Post had an article out this week that the headline was how Korea's kimbap went from comfort food to global sensation.
I mean, I've seen the posts on like social media.
Okay,
like
so
from
you're
abroad. No, and I'm just like, you're just getting in on the craze. I mean, kimbap's always been so good. No?
I thought it was very locally known, though. Like, I didn't realize it had taken off.
The global reach?
Yeah,
well,
but
ever since the trader thing, kimbap, that like took it to a different level.
I remember we talked about that a while back. But did you know what the catalyst for that was?
What is our producer doing? Tantalizing her taste buds at 7:49 in the morning?
All right. Okay, she's jumping way ahead of me. But okay. This is unusual kimbap. If you look closely, this is not what you'll find at the local kimbap shops here.
Except for the left lower corner?
Yeah. You want me to tell you what they are?
Okay.
All right, let me jump to
She's jumping ahead, so.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So the writer of this article from the Washington Post is Korean American. And he gives his kind of personal story about his relationship to kimbap, his family's relationship. Because he's Korean American, it's kind of quite a bit different than what most people have here, I think.
Yes.
So those were his creations there. Can we get it big again? Come on.
I know, we don't
cover
need
our faces.
Yes.
So clockwise from the top left, the writer started experimenting. That is rotisserie chicken, fried plantains, and mac and cheese.
Ooh.
Okay.
Mac and cheese and fried
Can you see the mac and cheese now? You can,
yeah,
can you see,
now I see it. Now I can't unsee it. Okay.
So the second one was a little bit more acceptable here, but I don't know, still a little interesting. Crab stick and Spam.
Oh, okay.
The third one was pork belly, perilla leaf, and Korean chives. That sounds like it would play.
That's within the realm of normal.
Right. And then the last one, egg white and veggies.
Whites and veggies. Ooh.
So it's a whole, in other words, a big point of this article is kimbap has taken off and you can't control the kimbap.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many different variations.
Especially in the United States, which this is Washington Post, of course. So they detail like what a bunch of restaurants are up to. But also they say it's all connected to extraordinary, what's it called? Extraordinary Attorney Woo. The global popularity is because that's what they say.
In Korean, it was called 이상한 변호사 우영우.
And I'm pretty sure you told me you watched it.
I watched it.
Do you remember?
Well, I think from memory, her parents or her mom had a kimbap shop, if I'm not mistaken, right? Her family operated one.
I think so.
Yes.
Actually, I can't confirm nor deny. That wasn't in the article.
I'm pretty sure, yes.
But they do say like, the very first episode, the first thing you see is kimbap in the show.
That's true.
And she explains like why it's comforting to her.
Yes.
Because it's predictable.
Yes.
But they say, according to one professor quoted in the article from Binghamton University, he says the globalization of kimbap is quite impressive.
Yes.
And I'd attribute Extraordinary Attorney Woo as being a real catalyst for that spread. So there you go.
Yes.
You never know like how these kind of K-dramas are going to just light things up.
Right. And then, of course, like I mentioned with the whole trader thing, when they started selling the frozen, everybody was like, frozen kimbap.
Me too.
It sounds so unappetizing. I haven't tried it.
I still haven't either.
But I guess some people still,
Well, they got competition now as well. A big chain that has a presence in Korea as well is now their competition for that. So they're selling that as well. And then they list all of the various countries around the world that have like kimbap shops now. They said Germany, Australia, South Africa. It's everywhere. There's even one with like a local name we're familiar with here in Australia in English. I was like, oh, you can go to heaven in Australia as well.
You're so funny.
Thank you.
I think we're so creative getting around all the brand names.
I know. We plugging nobody.
Yeah. We don't want to plug anybody.
Right.
Yes.
Can I ask you one question before we run out of time?
No. We have plenty of time.
Okay.
We're not going to even play a song. We're going to let you talk. So, yes.
Sweet. All right.
Yeah. Ask away.
Is it kimbap or gimbap in your opinion? When you got to spell it in English. They mentioned that in the article.
Okay. So, traditionally,
go ahead.
Okay. So the spelling, there are three spelling.
I put three that I thought of. Yeah.
Like KIMBAP versus GIMBAP versus KIMBAB, and I guess you could have more.
Yeah, probably.
In class, my students ask me, my college students, and I always tell them it's your choice, but I go with the.
Oh, you're gonna say G. Go ahead.
Well, the thing, and they get confused because like when we talk about like surnames and family names or last names, they're like, oh well, we usually do 김 씨는 항상 KIM으로 많이 하잖아요. Right. So I prefer the kimbap, like the GIM.
Oh, you're a G.
Yeah, I'm a G. OG, that's right. West Coast OG. But,
nice.
Oh, how do you spell it?
I go with the K, and I don't know why. It seems like I've maybe seen that more, I guess.
No, but it's everywhere. Like even with the kimchi.
Yeah.
Traditionally, it's always been like KIM.
Right.
CHI.
Right.
So I think we're so used to it. We've kind of been almost a little brainwashed into.
For sure.
Like with the
We've
Kim.
been programmed.
Yeah. 그 김씨면 거의 다 KIM으로 많이 쓰잖아요.
Yeah.
But I have seen variations like in the States. 김씨인데 GHIM도 봤어요.
As a person's name?
Yes.
GH.
IM.
I see. If I see that, I would want to be like.
Him?
Yeah, or like
or
maybe
like
Jim even. Like I don't
Jim?
know. Like I don't know
Right,
what
right.
I would do.
But I've seen
Jim?
that. Yeah, I've seen that spelling.
Ah, interesting.
So I would always think like, are they Korean? Are they not? I
yeah, because it seems like non-Korean to a degree,
Is it
right?
like
when
a-
you see that.
or like a-
Oh, right. One
Right,
of those
like-
sounds.
right, so I
like
don't know.
glottal. What is that called?
Yeah, but then when you
Kim.
say ghost is GH as well. So
Yeah, true.
just saying.
Yeah, so there you go. All the variations you have of kimbap. And apparently it's going to continue. That's what it looks like from the article. So thank you, extraordinary attorney Wu. I guess.
Yes,
That's
I
where the
see
credit
one
lies.
last thing I want to mention real quick before you go.
Yep.
Why does your script say $55 for kimbap?
Oh, you want to get into that?
Just
Let's
real
do
quick,
this.
yes.
So Bay Area, I guess San Francisco, Oakland. There's
everything's expensive there.
Well,
Yeah.
all right, $55 for one. This is how I understand it. One $55 roll stuffed with lobster, wagyu, abalone, and house-made, so made in the house tofu. Would you pay $55 for that?
No. Not as for a kimbap.
Who's their customers?
I don't know.
What? It's 55.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
Would
like-
you?
Actually,
$55?
no.
That's like 거의 7만 원인데요 for one roll of kimbap. I know
Right.
lobsters are there, but I'll let people think about it and we'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Casey.
Have a great weekend.
We'll be back at 8 o'clock.
Your bridge to the world. BEFM 부산 영어방송.
아프리카 유일의 한국전 참전국 에티오피아. 6천여 명의 군인들은 자신들의 월급을 모아 부모 잃은 아이들을 위해 보아원이라는 고아원도 세워주었습니다. 그러나 지금 에티오피아는 위기에 처해 있습니다. 끊이지 않는 내전과 기후재난으로 대부분의 의료시설은 파괴되었고 의약품도 부족해 간단히 치료할 수 있는 질병으로 사망에 이르는 상황입니다. 바로 지금이 우리가 에티오피아의 진빚을 갚을 때입니다. 지금 전화해 주세요. 후원문의 080-993-0119 국제구조위원.
부산의 축제 어디까지 즐겨보셨나요? 과거와 현재, 미래가 공존하는 항구도시 부산. 이곳 부산은 계절을 물들이는 다양한 축제로 늘 풍성합니다. 봄의 시작을 알리는 봄꽃 축제부터 부산의 여름을 만끽하는 바다 축제, 전 세계 영화인들이 모이는 부산국제영화제와 새로운 시작의 해맞이 축제까지. 부산의 축제는 우리의 열정을 가득 담고 있습니다. 바쁜 일상은 잠시 뒤로하고 특별한 시간을 선물 받는 바로 이곳 부산에서 우리의 삶은 축제가 됩니다. 축제로 하나 되는 부산. 여러분은 어떤 축제를 기다리시나요? 이 캠페인은 대선공익재단과 BFM 부산 영어방송이 함께합니다.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전. 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Want to be a friend of BFM Busan 영어 방송? You can chat with BFM through our Kakao Talk service. You can share your messages and photos through Kakao Talk, and you can easily become BFM's Kakao friend by searching BFM through the Find a Friend option. Come share and chat with us at BFM anytime, anywhere for free. Don't forget to add BFM Busan 영어 방송 to your Kakao friends list.
Man, I haven't got a chance. I call
him. The time is now 8 o'clock.
Good morning, Dynamic Busan.
Yeah, you're waking up. Time to shake it up. Tell the world good morning and find out what's going on.
Well, hi there, folks. There's everything from comedy to lively chat to music.
Broadcasting from a room about the size of your closet.
All calls are recorded. What show is this?
Live from Korea's dynamic city, this is Morning Wave in Busan.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
It is now 8 o'clock and this is News Highlights. National Assembly passes Pay More, Receive More pension reform. The National Assembly approved a landmark reform of the nation's ailing pension system yesterday, and the biggest overall of the public pension fund in about 20 years that would make the fund more sustainable. The bill passed in a 194-40 vote with 43 abstentions after the ruling and opposition parties reached a landmark agreement that calls for paying more in premiums and receiving greater pensions. Under the scheme, the pension contribution rate will be raised from the current 9% to 13%, going up by half a percentage point every year, while the nominal income replacement rate will be set at 43%, up from the current 40%. Constitutional Court to announce Han Duck-soo's impeachment verdict next Monday. The Constitutional Court said it will announce the verdict on Prime Minister Han Duck-soo's impeachment at 10 a.m. next Monday, March 24th, 3 months after he was impeached by the National Assembly over a string of allegations related to President Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law imposition last December. If the impeachment motion is upheld, Han will be removed from office. If it is dismissed, he will be reinstated. This ruling will come ahead of President Yoon Suk-yeol's verdict, the date for which has not been announced yet. The scheduling is seen as an attempt by the court to minimize any potential confusion in governance. Prosecutors raid Seoul mayor over corruption allegations. Prosecutors yesterday raided Seoul Mayor Oh Se-hoon's office and home over allegations of corruption surrounding his ties with self-proclaimed power broker Byung Tae-gyun. Oh Se-hoon is suspected of violating the Political Funds Act by having a business person cover the cost of opinion polls conducted ahead of the 2021 Seoul mayoral by-election by a polling company effectively owned by Myung. Oh submitted his current and old mobile phones and actively cooperated in searches of his official computer and tablet, said his office yesterday. South Korea-Oman World Cup qualifying match ends in a draw. The South Korean men's football team, ranked 23rd in the world, settled for a disappointing 1-1 draw against 80th ranked Oman in a World Cup qualifying match last night. Wolverhampton Wanderers, Hwang Hee-chan scored in the 41st minute of the team's Group B match in the third round of the Asian World Cup qualification at Goyang Stadium, assisted by Paris Saint-Germain's Lee Kang-in. Head coach Hong Myung-go called this the team's worst performance of the World Cup qualifications round. Team Korea will play Jordan at Suwon World Cup Stadium next Tuesday. Gaza death toll soars as Israel and Hamas resume attacks. Gaza's health ministry says 591 Palestinians, including 200 children, have been killed since Israel shattered the ceasefire this week, including at least 85 Palestinians killed in Israeli airstrikes since midnight local time. The Israel Defense Forces, or IDF, said on Thursday that it had started a ground operation in northern Gaza. Hamas has also resumed its attacks, launching 3 rockets at Tel Aviv. Israel resumed attacks on Tuesday as talks to extend the ceasefire deal failed to progress, warning that they would intensify until Hamas released the remaining 59 hostages, 24 of whom are believed to be still alive. And this was News Highlights. It's time for Waglwagle. Haley's back.
Hello.
Yes, and so since we've been talking so much about food and dining on your own, but also we did post earlier Taejin Waver's his breakfast photo, and we have another photo sent in by 이창규님 sending in this, and this apparently is his breakfast. 아침 토마토 한 개 먹어요.
The singular breakfast.
Right. So I want to know this. 통으로요? Like an apple, do you bite into it or do you slice it up? Because it's not like a cherry tomato.
I've done it though, biting into it like an apple. Yeah, like
an apple, right? So,
but you do have to slurp it really well because of all the juices.
That come out. Yeah. So, but so healthy. Those are super healthy.
It is 대저 tomato season. The salty tomato, so good.
But that looked like a regular tomato. Like
you can tell?
Yeah.
Oh.
The color.
Oh.
그거 대저 아닌 것 같은데요. Oh, let us know. It's a regular tomato, yeah. Yes, PD님 says yes, it's a regular tomato.
아세요?
네, 딱 보면 그리고 대저 토마토는
나만 몰라?
되게 the 껍질이 좀 달라요. It's very shiny and 탱탱, and it's a little on the greener side because they're like underripened.
We have like tomato experts. I'm surrounded by tomato experts. What's happening? Okay, good to know. Learn something new.
Yes. All right, let's jump into our first story. Opposition lawmakers were egged, meaning eggs were thrown at them while giving a press conference about the president's impeachment, right?
Right. So Democratic Party lawmakers Baek-hae-ryun and Lee-gun-tae were speaking in front of the Constitutional Court yesterday, along with a group of other lawmakers.
Yes.
When someone from the other side of the sidewalk threw eggs at them. So there were President Yoon Suk-yeol supporters on the other side. The eggs hit lawmaker Baek in the face and Lee on the shoulder. The police did not catch the perpetrator on the scene, so they have formed a dedicated team to investigate this.
Yes.
The police also broke up the protests on the ground. So what's been happening, because there are no protests allowed within the 100-meter perimeter of the court. However, what President Yoon supporters have been doing is they formed multiple single-person protests because those are allowed. So they disperse the group.
Yes. And so this also raises questions, though, about safety and security around the Constitutional Court, no?
Right, because as you can tell, although there are rules, there are ways to circumvent said rules by having multiple one-person protests. So criticism is now mounting over the police's safety and security measures because even though the police were there in front of the lawmakers with the umbrellas open to prevent against any of egg throwing or other throwing of things, it still happened. So some have pointed out, of course, we are now on the what if category, but what if it hadn't been eggs? What if they had been rocks because they're roughly the same size, or even explosives? So this goes to say the the impeachment situation has been very tense.
Yes.
And including the break-in and raid of the Seoul, Seobu, the Western Regional Court. And while the police have vowed to turn this 100-meter area around the Constitutional Court into a vacuum, there was still a YouTuber who made death threats online against the court and the authorities doing his live show in front of the Constitutional Court just this week. Right. So in any case, acting President Choi Sang-mo called on the police to thoroughly investigate this case and do everything to control the area.
I see. So that's what's going on there. Next, this person got real creative trying to contact his ex. But the court actually saw this as stalking. So we need to know so we're not guilty of it. Right. And we know what this stalking behavior is. What did he exactly do?
So a man in his 20s, his girlfriend broke up with him. So he got broken up with this past January.
Okay.
So he tried to contact her at that point to call her and text message her on 40 separate accounts. At that point, the court issued a restraining order, 접근 금지 명령, against him. Makes sense. But the next day, he started depositing money into her account. One 일원 at a time. And then because in South Korea, I don't know whether that's available elsewhere, where you type in your name. So like what the sender sees when you receive when they receive some money, when the receiver sees the money, you can change it. So he would say things like, I miss you, like come back. So he used that to send messages. So it's basically like a telegram, but at 1-1. So he sent 200 messages via this method, and he even went to try to see her in person, which is, by the way, a clear violation of the restraining order. So the reasoning he told the authorities was that he was trying to get her to change her mind after she broke up with him out of the blue, which,
I wonder why she broke up with you.
You think, right?
I'm just saying.
Right. So the prosecution, the victim, and I should send a correction. The court is in the process of ruling this as stalking. The prosecution has requested he be put in prison for 1.5 years. The court is deliberating on the case. By the way, the victim, felt such extreme fear that she can't go about doing her day-to-day activities.
I mean...
So, stalking is stalking, whether you're doing it electronically or in person.
No, I fully agree.
Right. So the court ruling is due on the 27th of this month. So when I find out, I'll let you know. I
mean, if I open up my account and every time, if there's a message, an unwanted message.
And most banks have alerts on your phone. So even if you're just sending it to her bank, she still gets, or people still get.
You get that alert,
pop-up.
Right.
So that's still messaging.
All right. Well, tell us what happens. I'm very curious. Let's move on, though. An Olympic skeleton racer is under a bit of controversy for some comments he made on his YouTube page. And so who are we talking about and what did he say?
Right. So we're talking about Yoon Sung-bin, the very well-known. Right.
Oh, no.
Right. So this is very controversial. People have thoughts on it. So he made comments on these so-called adult kangaroos. In Korea, refer to adult children moving back in and living with their parents as kangaroos. His comments were deemed a little insensitive and maybe not in line with the times, but others agreed. So I'll let you be the judge of it, Wavers. So on his YouTube page, I think he was eating with his staff, and he asked the staff this phenomenon about kangaroos and said, why don't people live on their own? 왜 독립을 안 해? And the staff responded, 돈이 없어서요. Right, they don't have money.
Okay.
That there's nothing left in your salary after you pay the rent and living costs. So Yoon then responded back, well, why don't they have money when they have a job? Cut down on your living costs. He said, 일을 하는데 왜 돈이 없어? 생활비를 아끼면 되잖아. So the issue is, can you really cut down on your living costs, though? So the staff explained, well, with minimum wage, assuming someone gets paid minimum wage, their monthly salary is 2 to 2.3 million won, 230만 원. Rent and utilities cost about 1 million won.
Right.
So I did some research on it. Average rent for a one-room studio, what we call one-room studio apartment in Seoul, because that's where they live, was 770,000 won last year. 77만 원 for 월세.
Yes.
And then, so the staff went on to explain, so you subtract 1 million won from your pay. then you're living off of 1.3 million won, and that needs to cover food, transportation, and whatnot.
Yes.
So he said then he kind of got it at that point and added that, I guess if you're just getting started, 신입이면 you could live with your parents.
Okay. So how do people respond to this?
Well, response has been very divided. So some people in the comments agreed, saying that his tone may have been a bit insensitive. The content is not wrong. That some people think it's weird for an adult with a job to quote unquote mooch off of their parents. Mooching off means 얹혀 산다. Others said, well, let's take that into context. This is a guy who has won an Olympic gold medal at the age of 25. So basically at the top of his field, he gets Olympic pension, ad deals, sponsorships. So he is probably better off financially than a lot of others of his age group.
True.
So he may not understand how an average person in his age might be doing.
Okay.
Right,
so
right.
I get it why people, some people agree with him, others, they didn't like his cavalier attitude regarding the issue. But, it does shine the light on this phenomenon of this whole kangaroo joke, as we call it here.
Right. So the point of this story, the why I'm bringing this, isn't to harp on this one guy, because people are entitled to their opinions, although, unfortunately, social media and video channels, they do megaphone this over to the general public. But let's talk about the phenomenon of kangaroos. Full disclosure, I am one. According to government data, over 54% of adults between the ages of 19 and 34 live with their parents.
Okay.
62% have no plans to move out. By the way, of course, finances is a big reason. Average wages for this 19 to 34 age group, 2.6 million won. So that staffer who said 2.3 million won wasn't that far off. Average living costs, 생활비 for young households, 2.1 million won. So that gives them barely 500,000 won, 50만 won in disposable income.
Sure.
By the way, in terms of housing, of course, not everybody needs to buy a house in Seoul, but just to give you context, this is the price to income ratio, the PIR, which is basically how long it would take you to buy a home in that city if you saved up every single cent. So you didn't spend any money. 13 years in Seoul. That was for 2023.
Yes. We have a comment who commented on this, this, I guess, viral clip, whatever. But so Inam says, this is their opinion, by the way.
Right.
저거 영상 보면 비아냥 한 건 아니고 그냥 이해를 못할 수도 있다 생각해서 자기 생각을 말한 것 같은데요. So they thought they took it as maybe he just didn't really understand, and then the staff kind of schooled him, saying this is the reality. So it could have been that way, but a lot of people are demanding that he apologize for, I guess, his cavalier attitude.
Did I believe he right. He did, and then others are demanding that he apologize again. So everyone's entitled to their own opinions. And once again, I think the issue is so many things are now public.
Yes,
thanks to the internet. So
that's why we don't comment. Other people are commenting. A lot of commenting going on. Well, we're going to end it on a heartwarming note, as we like to do, especially for this segment. Plus, it's a Friday.
Right. So this is an elderly woman. And when we say 어른 in Korean, it can mean just like an adult, someone who's over the age of 19, or like an elder, like a pillar of community. And she is definitely one. Ms. Yoon-kun, she donated her building, appraised at 4 billion won. So she's actually a local resident, 80-year-old woman who lives in Yeongdo-gu.
Yes.
She donated her building to Chungnam National University for students in need so they can focus on their studies. So Ms. Yoon is from Chungnam area. Her life is definitely one of hardship. Her mother died when she was 3. She couldn't even go to elementary school because of economic difficulties. Her father died when she was 13, so she had to go live with someone else.
Okay.
Even after marriage, the economic difficulties continued, and basically the level of education she got was teaching herself how to read. So she's always had this thirst for education.
Yes.
She made it big by selling clothes out of a cart from markets, but she had, on the personal note, she had multiple miscarriages and her husband left her. So after this, she moved to Busan in the 70s with just 500 won, 500 won. She worked as a maid, but she just took up really any odd job that was available. And she bought an inn, 여인숙, in Yeongdo, and turned that into a 6-story building in 1995, which she has now donated to the university.
Wow.
So she says she was inspired by another woman. Her nickname was 김밥 할머니. Kimbap's just a theme today.
Yes.
So Ms. Lee Bok-sun, who donated about 5 billion won worth of real estate to the same university in 1990. So Ms. Yoon-gun said she's overjoyed to finally achieve this dream. She's always wanted to do this. The school held a ceremony to celebrate and thank her and said that they'll use this property as either an education or training facility to help foster young talents.
Wow. We need to take a page out of her book.
Yes.
Yes. And before I let you go, though, 창규님 with his whole 토마토 이슈가 계속되고 있습니다. 지금 그렇지 않아요? So people were like waggling on in our chat room regarding this on YouTube saying, 대저 토마토는 약간 생긴 게 틀려요. 대저 짭짜리는 초록색이고요.
몰랐어요.
조현철님, 대저는 짭짜리 토마토 아닌가요? 답은요. 네, 그냥 regular tomato. And
제가 먹을 줄만 알아서 그래요.
Even Leslie chimed in saying, is that an heirloom tomato? I don't know if it's an heirloom tomato, but it is definitely not a 대저 짭짜리 tomato. So
can I go now? Can I be excused?
It's very rarely Haley gets it wrong. So, when the few times, like once in a blue moon, we got to let her know. So thank you,
That's
Haley.
fun. You're welcome. Bye.
All right. It's time for your updated traffic and weather. Here's an update on your traffic right now. There are some accidents to report on. First up, on Byeongno going out of the city, right around the Daeyeon rest area, Daeyeon 쉼터에. There's an accident right there, so be careful of that area. You might want to take a detour. Another accident reported on Luno Samsungdaedo from Shino Bridge to Myeongho intersection, right inside that Myeongji underpass. And that area is always congested anyway, so it might be extra congested. It's backed up on 중앙대로 from Pomnaegor intersection to Chungang subway station. Also, heavy traffic detected on Mandokdae로 between Minap and Mandok intersection in both directions. And looking slow on Nakdongdae로 from Gwaejong intersection to Hadan intersection. It is, are you ready for this? Double digits, 10 degrees Celsius here in Busan under clear skies. It's going to go up to 18, and it's very similar for tomorrow and on Sunday. You can expect lows of 8, maybe a high of 20 for both days. It's going to be really warm and sunny. Enjoy your weekend. This was your traffic and weather. Ooh, this is Abracadabra by Brown Eyed Girls.
착한 그런 내가 너 때문에 돌아 내가 독한 나로 변한 내가 늘 닮은 인형에다 주문을 또 걸어 내가 그녀와 찢어져 달라고 Every night I'll be with you. Do you love her? Do you love her?
Welcome back. Just in case, did you catch a little bit of that? If you didn't catch the last 30 seconds, later on rewind and watch again at your leisure, pleasure. I don't know if it's pleasurable. So that might be painful for some people, but let's talk about the text topic today. Do you prefer eating by yourself or with someone else, and how far have you gone in your solo eating ventures? The big question is this, though. Are you comfortable going to a 고깃집, 삼겹살 집 가서 혼자서 맛있게 구우면서, and then also getting up and getting all the side dishes and enjoying. Usually for 고깃집 거의 다 그렇지 않아요. 거의 the minimum is a 2-person order, or at least 2, right? Usually. So are you okay with that? And some people are. For example, Tommy says it doesn't matter, alone or with other people. And Tommy, I got to read this comment. I'm sorry, Haley. 약간 둘째 유치원 때 재롱잔치 생각나게 만든 영상. Sorry. Had to read that out loud. Yes, you can definitely enjoy that. Also, we have a photo that was sent in by 이재봉님, right? Yes. And we're going to post it right now. 슬로우 조깅 하고 왔어요. 봄이네요. Look at the photos. And the fact that you're exercising in the morning, really staying healthy. Thank you for sending in your photos. That's why I love the Kakao Talk feature, because you can send in photos. And when we can, we do try to post them to make sure that you feel included. And the fact that you guys are so healthy with your eating and also with your fitness, right? I commend all of you. You guys are so super healthy. All right, now we're going to get to our special interview. The recent designation of South Korea as a quote-unquote sensitive country by the U.S. Department of Energy has raised significant diplomatic concerns between the two allies. And this classification, placing South Korea alongside nations like China and Iran, stems from incidents involving the mishandling of sensitive information at U.S. laboratories by South Korean visitors. So the timing of this designation coincides with discussions in South Korea about developing its own nuclear capabilities, further complicating the geopolitical landscape. And let's find out more about this. We have invited back to the airways our resident expert, Professor Kim Byung-ju, former diplomat and affiliate professor at Hankuk University of Foreign Studies. Hi, how are you, Professor?
Good morning. I'm very good. Thank you very much.
Yes. So first of all, when we first heard about this whole sensitive country designation, it definitely doesn't sound too good. So what does this actually mean?
Yeah, well, this means a lot of different kind of things depending on whom you're talking to. But overall, what we've been heard so far, I think it's very important to kind of summarize, put everything in a context here. Looking back, yes. I think it's been 2 weeks since we've been hearing this, maybe early last week or so. What we've been hearing was that United States has added Korea to its list where advanced high-tech cooperation may be limited in the future going forward. That's the first thing that we heard. United States government has added Korea to its list. And after after being added to the list, Korea will be going forward, have a limited contact with the United States in terms of advanced high technology cooperation. That's what we were told last week.
Yes.
After that, we were told, well, it's not necessarily entire U.S. government, but it was U.S. Department of Energy's action. And so scope was a little bit narrowed, but still we were debating, well, still, it might have come from the Energy Department, but it's a U.S. government action. What does this mean? A lot of people were talking. And then, while that was going on, most importantly, in the Korean media and Korean political circles, accusation was flying around, first of all saying, well, Korean government did not know about this for months. What's going on? There was a serious government failure on the side of Korea Korean government has not been doing its work that the accusations were saying.
Yes.
And then after that, political parties came out saying, well, this is all because the Democratic Party and the progressive side media were saying, this is all because the conservatives have been talking about nuclear armament for South Korea. This is all their fault.
Yes.
Our important ally, United States, is really mad about this, and we will have to pay for this. That's what the Progressive Party and then media were all saying. And the other side, conservative side, a Conservative Party was saying, no, this is all because the progressive have been going anti-American and pro-Chinese, and that's why U.S. government is upset. So we had pandemonium of debate here in Korea without really knowing what was going on. And then you have already mentioned some of the facts at the opening. But later on, we will learn that this is, again, Energy Department list of countries, what they call sensitive and other designated countries list. They call it SCL. And in this list, countries like, of course, North Korea, Syria, and some of the terrifying sound countries are listed.
Yes.
But along with that, the list also includes India, Israel. Israel is more than anyone the closest ally of the United States. And Taiwan is listed, and Ukraine is also listed. So we were thinking, what is this? A lot of people are saying, what does this list really mean?
Right.
And back in 2017, as of 2017, we know there were 25 countries. So it's quite a long list. And we learned also, surprisingly, that the listing happened not under the Trump government, but in January under the Biden government.
That's right. Yes.
So that was another surprise. And so those are the things that we've been hearing and talking about, and then kind of like debate occurred and confusion happened so far. That's what we know.
Yes. Thanks for elaborating and letting us know what's been happening thus far. So this designation, so we don't know exactly what this might mean, but in your expertise, Professor, do you think this will impact the diplomatic relationship between South Korea and the U.S.? I mean, traditionally, really, strong allies, always we hear the phrase like ironclad alliance. We hear that phrase all the time. Do you think it's going to affect that?
Well, again, let's go back to what we've been discussing here in Korea, because that's really important here. And that there were 4 different dimensions that the way we understood this case relating to your particular question. Well, how will this have an impact? 4 different dimensions. Number 1 was dimension on the U.S. government. When it first came out, they were saying, before we found out it was done under Biden government, they were saying, oh my God, what is coming? Trump has been talking about all these actions against South Korea, and now we hear this listing. Oh my God, what is it that the United States have in mind?
Sure.
The U.S. government intention. Now the bilateral relationship between the two countries will be really negative. That's the impact that was anticipated with focus on the U.S. government. Dimension number 2, Korean government. They were saying, oh my God, Korean government didn't know this for a long time, and they didn't know it, and this just shows how incapable Korean government is. And this means going forward, the relationship between the two countries will be undermined because of lack of capacity, this terrible capacity, a terrible lack of capacity on the Korean government side. So second dimension was on the Korean government side.
Sure.
And then third dimension, as I mentioned, the progressives in the media and the political parties. They're all saying this is all because the conservatives have been talking about nuclear armament, on South Korea's building all nuclear weapons. This is all for them to blame, and will be ruining our important relationship with the United States. And that's dimension number 3, the progressive. Dimension number 4 was, of course, the conservatives. They were saying, no, this is all because the progressives have been talking about anti-American stances and then pro-Chinese stance. That's why U.S. government is acting that way. So if you combine those 4 dimensions, you can kind of put together what the outlook for the bilateral relationship going forward have been in this debate for the last 2 weeks.
I see. Well, what steps are being taken to address these concerns? Because, I mean, we don't want to be on that list, right? That sensitive country list for any reason. So Is there something being done behind the closed doors that you may have heard of? Anything that's being done to address this?
Well, the thing is, in order to get something done effectively, we have to know what has exactly happened. We need an explanation, right?
Sure.
And we just talked about what was heard here in Korea, but the latest one we got was the day or two ago. Acting ambassador to Korea, Ambassador Joseph Yoon of the United States, he specifically said this. This was done by Energy Department, as we've been talking about. And this happened because of raised sensitivity regarding the fact that there have been so many visitors, Korean visitors, visiting Energy Department affiliated labs in the United States, and having many of them, he said, Ambassador Yoon said, there were as many as 2,000 Korean students, scholars, visitors, different kind of specialists visiting Energy Department affiliated labs in the United States. And large number itself does not really mean a problem itself in and of itself, but because they had so many visitors, there were some cases where, the alarm went off in terms of, this has to be controlled more safely because of the security and stuff like that. And that was his explanation. Because they had so many visitors and 2,000 visitors into their 17 Energy Department labs last year. And because of that, the department itself acted alone without letting the State Department know. The Energy Department just acted on its own, and it remained as a kind of like fact under the cover within Energy Department. And the State Department didn't even know about this. So basically, Ambassador Yoon said, it's not a big deal, it's technical, it's bureaucratic things that happen. So therefore, Korea has no worry they should keep in mind. And just let's resolve the situation. We will see an improvement going forward. So there was a kind of calming words coming from the U.S. ambassador, acting U.S. ambassador to Korea just a few days ago. So based upon that, I think we'll be working on it. We know Korea's energy minister is visiting United States, to fix the problem. We know the Energy Department action was announced and decision was made, and decision itself was made in January.
Yes.
And the fact began to be spread out and shared very slowly. But the decision will begin to be implemented. It will enter in effect in last month. Next month, mid-April.
Yes.
So before then, Korean government wants to resolve the situation, but we'll have to wait and see how difficult or how easy it will be.
Right. And so as we look upon this particular scenario, this case, Professor, what are some of the key takeaways in dealing with the relationship as we not just talk about this particular aspect of the relationship of the alliance, but other critical diplomatic issues moving forward? What do we need to keep a keen eye on?
The thing is, I think this particular case displayed the lack and the gap that South Korea still has in the way we deal with this important relationship with the United States, the key ally here.
Yes.
Lack of sophistication, lack of understanding. The thing is, we can always think about certain countries' decision as a country, as a rational, unified actor. United States has done it. So once the Energy Department has done it, it means something about U.S. government. It's something about the thinking going on in Washington. That's a simple way of thinking it. But over and beyond that, there are other dimensions in addition to that. Another one is there are kind of organizational process, organizational rules that goes under the surface, just like Energy Department's internal regulation. So there are these officials at the working level that they are doing on their own. And so we have to understand how a system works. And on top of it, we also have to think about political players, who is more powerful player within Trump administration as opposed to Biden administration. So these individual players, political power, plus organizational process, plus what they understand as a national interest, all come into play when when a country acts certain ways. And we have to understand all of them in order to come up with an explanation. But what we did this time, Korean media, Korean politicians, they acted extremely irresponsibly, the way I see it. Without really knowing the details, Korean media first came out, oh, Korea is in trouble because the United States is acting that way. Korean government didn't know this. They made a big mistake, accusations. And then politicians all follow those lines and saying, oh, this is all because of the other side. The other side made a mistake. They were too bold on nuclear armament. And then the other side saying, no, they went too anti-American and pro-Chinese. Having a political fight over a diplomacy issue and international relations issue is a simple stupidity because that undermines Korea's own national interest. We should not fight over diplomacy and international relations issues. Korea has to try to remain united as much as you can on this kind of national interest related issues. This is not an issue for domestic political fight. But media initiated it, and then politicians followed it, and then media quickly turned around. They're accusing politicians for doing wrong when they found facts. So media responsibility is extremely significant, we were reminded, and political parties and politicians have to be keenly, painfully aware the importance, the weight of national interest when they want to bring up certain issues for their political fight. And in order to deal with all these problems more than ever before, it's people, us. We have to understand, to make a judgment on media reports and what politicians say. And in order to do so, we have to try harder to understand ordinary citizens. We have to try harder to understand how U.S. Country as a country works, government works, how China works, and how Chinese Communist Party works, and so on. So more than ever before, I think discussions like this about international affairs is critical so that Korean people will make a wise choice over what Korean media and Korean politicians will say. And together, Korea as a country will come up with better decisions.
And that's why we have you on, Professor, to kind of help us discern between what we really need to focus on versus what's being said in the media or between and among the politicians. So thank you so much for joining us and schooling us. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
This was Professor Kim Byung-ju, and we talked about the latest as South Korea has been designated a quote-unquote sensitive country.
Get your local up-to-date news from Korea and abroad right here on Morning Wave in Busan with Catherine. Stay tuned.
It's time for What in the World.
What in the world?
Sana here. Good morning.
TGIF.
Yes. I have a question for you.
Oh, I didn't catch it, but what is it?
Well, I'm going to ask you right now. So,
Okay.
So which do you prefer, eating on your own versus eating with other people when you're like outside?
Out
of the home. Eating out.
Eating out.
Pick one.
By myself.
Tick tock. By yourself.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, are you okay eating at a buffet by yourself?
A buffet, when I was younger, buffet would have been fine, but these days I don't get my money's worth.
Oh.
Because the buffets are 25, 30,000 won.
Oh, for the
or
cheaper
more.
ones. Yeah, the real expensive ones
So
are like.
I can't eat that much anymore, so I don't go to buffets.
Oh, what about like at a samgyeopsal, like gogi?
Yes, I heard that before.
You're okay?
I realize what the text topic is now. Yes, I went to a restaurant as well one time, and they said, "Oh, you have to order at least 3 portions." And I said, "Yeah, no problem." Because portions are getting smaller these days too.
It seems like it, doesn't it?
So it's
like some
no
restaurants
problem.
have like 120 grams.
Yeah.
Some have like 100 grams, depending on what kind of meat it is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I said, yeah, no problem, and a couple of bottles of that.
Of that.
Of that.
I see. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yes.
We're going to dive into your segment. What do you have for us today?
3 stories.
Okay.
football, fish, and a fantastic metal invention.
3 Fs.
I had to try and find, the last one didn't really fit, so I had to put a...
You had to find some sort of link to link them together, right?
Yes, correct. So the first story comes to you from Bulgaria.
Ooh.
Bulgaria, I think is how you pronounce it in Korean, where the
What
football
happened?
club Arda Kadzali took jumping the gun to a whole new level. They held a minute of silence. So usually when somebody passes away,
Yeah.
the football team, that is involved with the football team.
Right.
They hold a minute's silence. Yeah, so they were all there. They were holding a minute of silence, and the guy's alive.
How did they get it wrong? 묵념하는데 살아있었어요. How did this happen?
So I have no idea. I was trying to read how it happened, but I managed to get an interview. I saw a Bulgarian interview with the guy.
Ooh,
and
that's
this
a big oops.
Yeah. So he said he never misses games on TV. But he was about 10 minutes late for the match against
this
particular
game.
match. And as he was driving home, his phone was ringing nonstop, and he couldn't answer because he was driving.
Okay.
So everybody thought, maybe he is.
really is dead. Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
So he parked in front of the house, went into the yard, and his wife was crying. And, Petko, they announced you've died.
That is so... That's bad.
Yep.
Whoever's on the PR team that set up that moment of silence, I'm sure should be fired because
so
that
mistakes
is not doing your job.
Mistakes happen, but this is
that's a doozy. We call it a doozy when it's a big mistake,
that's a huge one. Yeah. So here's to one of those drinks. Petko Kanchev alive, well, and possibly double checking his life insurance policy right now.
Right, because wow, we don't want that kind of tribute.
No, we don't.
When you have not died.
Okay, so carry on to the next story.
Okay.
Speaking of staying alive, the next story is a real catch.
Why?
It's a fish story. Real.
Fish. Okay.
REEL.
Reel it in.
Yeah, reel it in.
Yes.
It's got fish technology and a whole lot of fantastic puns to surface.
Oh.
The story takes place in a little north from our last one, in Utrecht, in the Netherlands, where city officials have made a splash with their latest. I'm just keeping them coming. Yeah.
I get it. Fish splash.
With their latest invention, a fish doorbell. A fish doorbell.
A fish doorbell.
So when it comes to letting fish through a river lock, a lock is, as it sounds, it locks things out. But it's underwater to stop predators coming into the rivers, etc. So here's how it works. An underwater camera at the Vezluis lock streams live footage, links live footage to a website.
Okay.
And so when viewers from around the world can see a fish going past, they push the website doorbell. And then the person who's working there will open the gates to let the fish through. So the reason why is because the fish need to go and breed upstream.
Sure.
And then it closes after they pass. So this is the whole world. I mean,
can see?
Yes, can see this. I went on the website the other day. I watched it for about an hour.
For an hour?
I didn't see any. Well, I had it on the corner while I was doing my work.
I was going to say, you're just watching it for an hour?
It actually is quite relaxing watching.
I would think it's pretty calming if there's nothing going on.
If there was sound also, that would be great because just the sound of water is just very relaxing.
Sure.
So I think I've got picture. Have we already had the pictures up there? No, not yet. Okay.
Picture 2, yes.
Pictures 2 and 3.
So this is do you spot a fish, press the fish doorbell.
Yeah.
So what happens after you press the doorbell?
When you press the doorbell.
Is there another one?
Yeah.
Okay, can we get to the next one photo?
The fish.
What do they do?
Come through.
Oh,
yes.
That's fun.
Yes, I never actually saw fish. I just saw the green water.
The green murky water.
The green murky water.
For an hour, that's all you saw.
I was watching, not paint dry, I was watching
green water. The water flowing.
Yes, water flowing. Yes. Got lots more, but I think I'll leave the puns there because it's pretty officially amazing.
We only have 3 stories today.
Oh, we had, okay. I thought we had.
Why are you rushing?
I thought we didn't have that much time.
No, we have time.
Okay, so anyway, the mastermind behind this brilliant idea is ecologist Mark van Hoeklem, who says he's been happily hooked by the overwhelming response.
Oh.
And ecologist Anna Nish also noted that the project has cast a wide net, attracting fan mail from around the world.
Yes.
So as I said, viewers find it relaxing. And let's be honest, today in today's fast-paced world,
yes,
you just need to carpe diem.
Carpe diem.
Carpe diem.
That was a good one.
Yeah, and watch some fish swim in slow motion. So if you've ever felt like a small fish in a big pond, you can actually make a difference and
I
press
have
that
one
doorbell.
for you from one of our listeners.
Okay.
Tommy, a.k.a. I like to call him Jerry.
Okay.
But Tommy.
Oh, I got that one.
Yeah. He says, I just remembered a fish joke. Do you know where fish save their money?
Where do fish save their money?
Okay. Riverbank.
Yeah.
Riverbank.
Yeah. Sorry, I knew the joke. I was just...
Oh, you're pretending. You're a bad actor.
I'm terrible at pretending.
Leslie wants to know if your glasses are new.
Yes and no. Yes, they're new and kind of like 3 months.
3 months new. Yes. So
it's
kind
not,
of.
It's
the
not,
answer is
not
kind
new,
of.
But I don't usually wear them, so.
Yeah, they're new to you.
Yeah, new to you. Is that better?
No. Put on your glasses.
My wife said I look smarter, so I don't know what she thought of me before.
Yeah, you do. We didn't say you look smart. You look smarter.
Yes.
We'll just leave it at that. Yes, and Leslie says they look good, so yeah.
Okay, thank you, Leslie. Okay.
Yes.
So finally, a story that combines technology and something that was out of science fiction.
Ooh, what is it?
This story proves that the heart isn't just a muscle. I've got two pictures, and I'm not sure whether our PD will show the second one. It's a marvel of resilience, innovation, and hope.
Yes.
So an Australian man had a heart that was failing him and was facing what seemed like the inevitable while waiting for a doctor. Okay, but instead of fading away, he received a second chance, a titanium heart. Titanium heart, the whole thing. Yeah, so it's so not just the little valve part,
right? But the
entire heart. Was invented by Aussies. Aussie. Okay, there we go. I heard somebody saying,
crickets.
People at home were saying, oi, oi, oi. I heard you. One more time. Aussie. Oi. Very good.
Okay.
So not only that, he didn't have to lie in the hospital bed waiting.
Oh, yes.
He was able to walk out and the heart was functioning. So he walked out with a cold heart of metal, waiting for the moment when a warm human heart would be ready for him. So that's 100 days he lasted. It could have been longer, but it was 100 days until another heart.
There was a donor heart.
There was a donor heart came.
So this titanium heart, is it to kind of, to bridge the gap until you get a live donor heart?
Correct.
But, for that to happen, that means another person has to pass away. So.
Correct, yeah. Right. So, good and bad for that.
Oh, there it is.
Yes, so that's the heart. It's
Medical
amazing.
Technology.
Yes. So, and there it is inside your, obviously, your body.
Tommy says it sounds like a bulletproof heart because it's titanium.
Titanium. Oh, nice. Okay, Tommy and I are having a pun off here.
Yes. Who can do more aja gags?
Yes. I don't really want to make puns about this one because this is a nice
health.
story. Yeah.
Yes,
I've already done my 2 puns of cold and warm heart. But it wasn't just a medical breakthrough. It was a heart-stopping moment for scientists and doctors around the world.
Yes.
So thanks to the company, this man's journey became more than just survival. It became a story of possibility. So
yes.
I'm just saying 100 days, that's 3 months, almost 3 months. And that was before the donor came. So I was wondering how much longer could he have gone?
But we don't want to test.
No, you don't really want to.
You don't want to push the limits of something that we're not sure about, right?
Correct.
But the fact that he was able to make it, to bridge that gap until he got the donor heart is an amazing story.
Yes.
So we're going to call it a wrap. But thank you for all the interesting stories and the photos. We'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Vasana.
감사합니다.
Ning. Okay. Ning. Let's get to saying goodbye. But before I let you go, I do want to remind remind you, we're enjoying like a beautiful spring day today and into the weekend. However, we still need to be careful in order to prevent wildfires. What does this mean? Do not burn rice paddies or banks around fields, agricultural debris, or trash in forest areas. And please absolutely ban the dumping of cigarette fires on the road while driving. And do not carry flammable materials like lighters and burners when you enter the mountains, because I know a lot of you are enjoying the trekking into the mountains on beautiful spring days like we have ahead. So please be careful out there. And big shout out to, of course, you, the wavers, but also to our staff, our producer, Cho Yun-jin, our writers, Haley and Annie. I'll be back on Monday as well. I'm Catherine. And we talked so much about kimbap today. We couldn't resist. Here is Kimbap by Chadu to take us out. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye, everybody.
몇십 년 동안 서로 달리 살아온 우리 달라도 한참 달라 너무 피곤해 영화도 나는 멜로 너는 액션 난 피자 너는 순두부
그래도 우린 하나 통한 게 있어 김밥을 좋아하잖아 언제나 김과 밥은 붙어 산다고 너무나 부러워했지 김밥 속에 단무지 하나 요새 김치에 치즈 참치가 세상이 변하니까 김밥도 변해